Well, it's a beautiful morning here in Ontario. I'm heading to the farm right now to hook onto the trailer to go to Ohio. Now, I'm not shipping anything to Ohio or for quite some time over to Ohio from Ontario after the shellacking I got at the border last week. You all know that there's a lot of gray area that goes into crossing the border. And what I mean by that is, you know, depending on who you get at the border, if you get that guy, you might be in trouble. Now, no disrespect to the border agent I ran into last week here. He from what he showed me, he was 100% in the right. What he had told me was, I'm not supposed to be shipping horses into the United States of America unless I have a commercial license. Now, it's done quite frequently, but I guess the way he explained it is a lot of the border agents are lackadaisical when it comes to that. If I'm shipping my horse to go race, go on through, you know, that type of mentality, or they don't know the inner workings of the actual rules. And as he showed me in his book, and he was very polite, he ended up letting me go into the States. But truthfully, he wasn't supposed to. I guess it was only because he realized that I certainly wasn't trying to break the rules, that I was not aware that this was an actual rule. The way it was explained to me was, I'm shipping my own horse, going over to race, no big deal. He's coming back, he's on a temporary paper, which is 30 days. Everything in that way was above board, but I wasn't supposed to be shipping the horse. So I guess I'm not shipping any more horses into the United States. Now coming back, it's no problem. I did get tested yesterday here. I'm going to drive my car home tonight and then drive my car over to the Meadows on Tuesday, Wednesday. I am going to be at the Meadows in Northfield Park. And then coming home. Now, a huge transition. As you can imagine, there had to be multiple plans in place for Amy and I, right? What if 3 Point made the final? We all hoped and thought he would. What happens now? And I'll tell you what, we're so lucky to have the clients we have. You know, you guys out there that watch everything so closely, and there's been some clients with us from the start. Notably, Johnny, Greg, and Dave, especially. I don't want to give last names and call people out. Maybe they don't want, but these people are always watching what goes on in the stable, almost like the stewards behind the scenes, right? I don't know, an advisory panel. They're always watching what's going on, and you know, it's so difficult after the Breeders' Crown. You know, I'm heartbroken. We just got beat a neck getting in the final, and he showed that he belonged, and then we scoped him after, and he did have a little blood in his throat. How good would that horse been if he was on Lasix the other night? So I'm left quantifying everything, trying to figure out, okay, what do we do moving forward? And I'll tell you what, the conversation I had with the veterinarian at the Meadowlands on the phone was very eye-opening and extremely helpful. As I said in a video, you guys, your videos are ready. I got them all done for you yesterday. They'll be posted this afternoon after I have to write that little email, usually the header for the emails when they go out. Now, I had said I couldn't remember the veterinarian's name. She was extremely helpful and very insightful because she was actually a thoroughbred vet, which, when you're talking about 2-year-olds that have bled a little bit, it's very important because there's a lot of 2-year-olds in the thoroughbred industry on Lasix. So her insight was extremely helpful. I appreciate her help in the matter very much, and it's bugging me now that I can't remember her name. Anyway, you know, all this stuff is rattling around in my head. What if we had to put him on Lasix? You know, could we have? And I know flatly we couldn't have. There was no way that we could have legitimately put 3 Point Blue Chip on Lasix heading into the Breeders' Crown elimination. There was just no information that would push us in that direction. So I didn't lose any sleep over that. But I did want to know, what do we do next? Do we turn him out? You know, do we prep him for the Valley Victory, knowing he may not get in the Valley Victory? These things are all frustrating me. I'm trying to figure out the best way forward. Amy's saying, well, when's he going to ship? Where is he going to ship? What do you want me to do? Oh, my God. So it was very stressful, and then I get an email. Probably one of the more helpful emails I've received in quite a long time was from David. And he said, in a sense, paraphrasing, he said, why don't you supplement him to the Matron on November 4th? You can race him on Lasix. They go for $180,000. For the most part, the horses in the Breeders' Crown won't be in it because it's like 5-6 days later. Who's going to race their horse in the Breeders' Crown and then, hey, we didn't milk enough out of them. Let's run them down to Delaware and race them. Us, it's a little different. This is 4th, 5th lifetime start. This horse fresh as daisy. And even though he bled a little bit, sharp as a tack. Amy said he's squealing and roaring and playing. So very helpful. Now my answer to David right away is, well, David, they don't usually allow you to supplement to 2-year-old races. Like, you can't supplement to the 2-year-old Breeders' Crown and races of that nature. You just can't. But you can for the matron. Now it's a $20,000 US supplemental fee. That's a lot. But for a horse who definitely showed he can hang with the best colts in North America and bleed that night nonetheless, I think it was and is a slam dunk. 1, we get to prep him for a race we wanted to get him in, and 2, any money earned in that race would go towards getting him into the Valley Victory. Remember, it's the top 10 money earners for the Valley Victory. I can name 3 colts that raced the other night that are done for the year. They're not going anywhere. So there's no Valley Victory in their immediate future. So our plan, although it seemed to almost be dead on arrival after a fantastic race from our colt, thanks to a very astute client, breathed life into his entire 2021 season. So I could be the guy that comes on and say, oh, we figured it out, don't worry. I didn't figure it out. I stepped back and was trying to figure out how we could prep him. When could we take him back to Ontario, race him in the non-winners of 2? It never dawned on me to look in Delaware for the matron, and by the way, see if you can supplement him. It just never crossed my mind. So for us, for me, thank you very much, David. We don't always see eye to eye. Generally do. Don't always see eye to eye, but generally do. And in this case, I couldn't be happier with the email I received yesterday from you. Globetrotting is coming home Wednesday. I talked to Ron on the phone very briefly yesterday, but was texting with him after the race, and I said, listen, obviously the filly's just not, something's going on. 4 starts ago she ran off at Yonkers in 55, and now she looks a shell of a horse like that. I mean, obviously it's not lameness. Somebody said, oh, she was running in. No, she wasn't at all. She's crooked, or a little bit crooked, but she looked uncomfortable. This affiliate always ran in a little bit, ran out a little bit. So looking for things that aren't there is not the answer. Let's look for what is there. Obviously, there was a massive power outage in one race. She went from jogging at Yonkers to looking abysmal her very next start. In that time frame, something took place, and she's just not over it yet. I don't think it's a strictly physical. They don't think she's got a problem in her body physically, like a bone or a ligament. It's not that. I think you're going to find in her blood, and Ron already did. He said her liver count was a little high, and her AST, her muscle count was a little high. Well, I would suggest that maybe it was still a little high when she raced the other night. Livers are very, very difficult and tricky to get down. You guys, you went through it. We were very, very aware of the issues with livers all over the last year and a half, not just here, everywhere in I was going to say North America, but the world, because our filly in Australia had an issue with her liver over there at one point. So this is an ongoing problem in racing. And when their liver count gets high, it takes a long time to come down, and they can't function when it's up there. We went through it real bad with White Tiger for a spell. Oso Pine had it real bad for a bit. We had to turn them out for a little bit to get their livers to come down and relax, and still to this day have no idea why. Was it an environmental contaminant? It's hard to believe when you say it's happening in Australia, it's happening here, it's happening in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Ontario. It's really hard to buy into that premise, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to try and wrap my brain around it. It's the type of thing that'll drive you crazy trying to figure out what it is. Better off just to treat it and try and avoid it as best you can moving forward. So I suspect that's what's going on with Globetrotting. We'll get her blood proper, and hopefully she can race at Mohawk. And listen, the door is always open to go back to Yonkers, the Meadowlands. This is going to be a legit heavy hitter at 5, right? And I've said that since she was 3. I wanted to see how she'd do at 4, but I'm super interested about what she's going to do at 5, and I still am. So we'll get Globetrotting home, get her squared away. We did have to scratch High Gear No Fear tonight, so I'm literally just driving to Ohio to drive Yes. and a gentleman's horse, I believe, and an overnight, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, right now is our best horse for sure, and a killer right now, and I think he's going to go a big mile tonight, so I have no problem driving 4.5 hours over to Ohio to drive Yes tonight, that's for sure. High Gear No Fear, we schooled him on Wednesday, trained him hard. A little bit of mucus in there and a few flecks of blood. It's unreasonable for me to think that we can somehow fix this problem in 72 hours and race him in a comfortable and competitive way. I'm sorry, I don't. The vet said that he thought he might be okay, he would be okay, but ultimately I left it up to Jason, Lauren, and the veterinarian. We all talked about it and decided, you know what, the class goes every week. We got big plans for this horse. Why jeopardize his winter trying to race him back tight when we know he wasn't 100% on Wednesday? To think that he's 100% tonight would be, in my mind, naive. So why bother? So I think we're going to scratch him and race him next week. Be no problem there. Lots of stuff going on. Man, oh man. I appreciate, again, I'll continue to say it and reiterate it, we did deviate from our regular plans, the way we procure our horse inventory every year. And our clients did jump up. You guys did jump up and did in a big way and really helped me out, buying into horses before the sale, buying into groups, participating in partnerships before the sale. It meant a lot to me, and it's turned out very, very good. This is the first time in a long time I can look ahead and say, okay, by the time we get to Harrisburg, there's a real good chance everything's going to be paid for, and a clean slate heading into Harrisburg is just not a common theme for us at the stable. Usually it's sell more shares, reach out to people, get things done. So I'm very, very hopeful and fortunate and proud that we were able to get that done this year. We do still have Harrisburg left. I have a number of clients. You're hungry buggers anyway. I got a number of clients messaging me, okay, Anthony, what's up for Harrisburg? What are we looking at? I think it's realistic to say we can put together a partnership, the same thing we did for Lexington heading in. I will note this, and not as a detriment to the sale itself. I think it's just the way it turned out. I believe the Harrisburg sale book is a tiny bit light in regards to, I don't know how to put it. I guess the easiest way to put it for me, without trying to be too clear, is that when I looked through the Lexington sale catalog, man, I said this to Steve yesterday and to John, I had a gargantuan list of horses that I was looking at. It was a chore. I had to whittle them down, pull horse out, look at them. It was a big, big chore. I looked at the Harrisburg catalog. Yeah, there's some horses I really like, but I just don't see the same numbers as I did in the Lexington catalog. No, maybe that's me. Maybe that's just me being selective or more selective. I don't know. It just felt to me when I was done putting together my list of horses to go look at that it just seemed thinner than the Lexington catalog. So I said to Steve, you know what, this is the last sale. After this, it's going to get crazy. James is going to come on board. Danny O'Brien's going to be back. We're going to be going full bore. The first drone for you guys, I've already penciled it in for everybody to look at the horses we purchased on November 5th, the day before I leave for Harrisburg. I can't get it done before that. Curtis is in meetings and doing other stuff all up until then. So November 5th is the first day we can drone. Now, Steve took some drone videos last night. I know Kelly's working on them. But I mean, they were from like outer space, and that's fine. You still got to see how they look, though. And the problem's going to be they had no back pads on or nothing. So I don't know how Kelly's going to capture that. But at the same time, you'll get a real look at some of the horses I thought were impressive yesterday. I reach for those of you who are still looking at the inventory we have, you might want to take a look at the quick little yearling video I made in the videos this week, outlining and explaining what I found interesting thus far. Now we're 2 weeks in to really starting to go with the horses, not even for the Lexington horses. So the information may not be useful to you, but there were a couple of horses I thought were standouts. I'll give you a little, and these aren't horses. There might be a couple of shares left, and some of them are none, but they're very impressive. Yesterday, my number one star of the day, mostly because he caught me off guard. I wanted him to look good. I thought he'd look good, but I really hadn't gone with him since the first day I went with him, and that was Merchant Man. That is the only horse we have right now. I'm certain if I turned him right now and went a mile in 2:45, it wouldn't be a problem, which is hard to believe. He's been in the harness for 10 days. So I jogged him along. He looked great. Of course, Horn Player looked fantastic. Una Madonna looked fantastic. And I'll tell you who really caught Mario Bergeron's eye. He kept talking about him. Was Landing Strip, which isn't shocking. Landing Strip's got a lot of talk over the last 10 days or 2 weeks for a number of reasons. But Landing Strip himself is a very, very good-looking colt. Very impressed with him and very happy with how he looked. And I know, as impressed as I was, it was compounded greatly by Mario. He really, really liked the colt. Warwi Yuri. What about John Evans? He's watching the races home. He's the only one that said it. He said, "Oh, wouldn't it be awesome if we had a brother to Warwi Roo who just went in 51 at the Meadows, in the Meadowlands in the Open?" Oh, we do. His name's Warwi Yuri. So we have the half-brother by a better sire to the horse that won in 51 in the Open yesterday at the Meadows for Bob McClure. Congratulations to Determination and Bob McClure. Horse raced great and looked great. We have his brother, and he looked great yesterday jogging in Warwi Roo. So, every year we try to get better, and it just seems like we do, right? You can't argue. There's no argument that this year's pedigrees aren't infinitely deeper than any year's. Last year we had a great crop training down, led by the pedigree of 3 Point Blue Chip. We were also very hopeful, and it turned out great. But it really, really, really pales in comparison to this year. We have Alarm Detector's sister. We have Warwi Roo's brother. We have Una Madonna, who's very well bred, obviously. Grace's father's brother in Merchant Man is in there. And the horse that, as I said to everybody, the horse that I thought looked the most optically pleasing. So the nicest gait, the best looking horse to me on the track yesterday. Although Merchant Man looked like he going 1:45, there was a horse that physically looked better. Carter Michael Dio looked incredible. That's the international money. I'm going to tell you what, there's a share of international money for sale at Harrisburg, and I'm so tempted to take a chance on it. I know he's very unproven, but I saw a lot of his horses thus far. One in the sale, two in their yearling videos, and now Carter Michael Dio on the track. Impressive looking animals. So I don't know what's going to happen when they get to the track, but man, oh man, that is one good-looking animal. So a lot going on. I'm super pumped. Again, thank you very much to Dave for sending me that email. Thank you very much to all the kind comments. You guys saw the colt race the other night. I was so proud of him. I've never in my life, I think, been so proud and so heartbroken at the same time as I was the other night watching him finish up. But a huge, huge push forward for us with a plan of attack now that makes sense, and it fits what we're trying to do like a glove. Colt bled a little bit. Back in 11 days is perfect. You couldn't ask for a better timeline. Racing in a stake race for some money that will count and hopefully, jettison us into the Valley victory. You couldn't ask for a better scenario. So again, thank you very much to Dave and all our other clients that are always out there keeping an eye on us, keeping us on the straight and narrow and helping out when they can. So very much appreciated. So that's it. I'm going to hook onto that trailer right there in a second. I'm going to head to Ohio. I'm going to leave this truck and that trailer in Ohio, bring my car back for a few days, one day really, and then head to Northfield Park and the Meadows on Tuesday. So I'll talk to you all very soon. I hope you're having a great day. I know I am. Much better day now. I slept great last night. And with the sun out today, it is a beautiful day here in Ontario, and hopefully an even beautiful and even better night tonight in Northfield Park. So good luck to the Yes crew, the Yes ownership group. He's coming in hot, and he's looking good for tonight. So hopefully we have some luck. Take care.